All right, guys. Some of you may not know this, but the ATF put out, in conjunction with an organization called Report It, they put out an app. It's basically a rat app or a red flag app. Just a way to rat somebody out anonymously. This is awesome. The app is called the Report It app. And the ATF says it partnered with Report It to provide a simple-to-use mobile app allowing users to anonymously and confidentially submit tips about crimes happening in communities involving firearms, explosives, arson, and violent crime. For more information and to download the app, go to, and then they give you this address. So what I did is I went to the address, and of course, in looking at all of their stuff on here in typical government fashion, they are smart enough to suspect what we're going to suspect. Okay, I'm going to give the government a portal back to my stuff through one of their apps voluntarily. Yeah, that makes sense. But I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm going to go along with this. They go in there and they talk about ATF tips, how to submit an anonymous tip, anonymous. They go in here and they talk about questions and answers. And in the questions and answers, it talks about how you can report it, what kind of tips you're going to submit, how do you submit the tips, and things like that. Then they go in here and they talk about some of the different field offices that you can actually use your code to in order to make sure that the area that you're trying to report in, it goes to the right agency or field office. Then they go down and they talk about what kind of devices you can have, and then they talk about anonymity. Is this tip system anonymous? Yes, is what they say. How anonymous is it? Because they know, based on their history and the times that we've gotten hosed by them, that we don't believe them and we don't trust them. So they automatically have to be their own devil's advocate to know that we don't trust the federal government. So go and talk about privacy and all that kind of stuff. A lot of real cool stuff in here to make you feel really good about ratting your neighbor out, or anybody else for that matter. They stress in here that you can be anonymous, but if you accidentally choose to enter information in here about yourself, then they get to keep that, or they're going to use that. So you have to make sure that if you're going to rat somebody out, that you choose that you're not planning to enter any of your own information out, because that's kind of your way of divulging it and giving them permission to have it. Once you enter it, you're not entering it anonymously. The only way to remain anonymous is by not putting it in there, and I'll show you that here in a second. I decided to go through the app myself and load it. The federal government knows where I live. They know everything about me already. I'm on all the lists that they have, so what harm could this possibly do? So I went into the App Store. I have an iPhone in the App Store. I had to scroll for a second, as you can see right here, and then I found it about the third down, I guess it was, their app. So I type in get, or I press get, and then I press install on my phone, and then I put my password in. Wouldn't you guys like to have my password? But I'm going to go ahead and black that out so you guys cannot see that. And then it goes on to download the app onto my phone. So let me fast forward a bit here, and it says right here, make use of your location. I didn't allow it to turn my location services on, even not while I'm using the app. I don't look, I have my limits, right? So I did choose do not allow or anything like that. Now it encourages you to go back and do that. Remember, they've already given you the codes to what the field offices are, so why would I need to give you my location services? Red flag, no pun intended. So anyway, moving on. If you ease on over here, it goes into the keep in touch area, wanting you to give your information, and really try to coax you into giving your information the best they can. So here's their disclaimer. As you can see, by downloading the Report It mobile app, you understand and agree to our following terms of service. Report It's completely anonymous, blah, 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 blah. Kind of the same stuff that we read on their website. I'm not going to bore you with that. I didn't understand what they meant right here, but they're looking for that code that you saw back on the original ATF website. So that's what they're looking for right here. I went ahead and punched in because I have a person that I want to report myself. I'm actually going through this in order to file a complaint and a report. So I knew the area that I wanted to report somebody. So what I did is let me get over here. Here we go. I chose the Washington, D.C. area, because there's somebody in Washington, D.C. that I know has done something that they, or at least somebody has deemed is apparently illegal. So I chose Washington, D.C. as my area. Took a second. Where's that? There we go. Notice the offices that pop up. Obviously the top one being the ATF, but also the CDC. So if you want to report somebody, I mean, I'd like to report the CDC, but who do you report them to? So these are the offices. If you want to report someone for not wearing a mask, you contact the CDC. If somebody's not properly social distancing, if somebody hasn't gotten their mandatory vaccine, Drug Enforcement Administration, you want to rat out your neighbor for having a bag of weed, a National Suicide Prevention Hotline or Lifeline, I think that should be at the top, and it's not. It's sad that that's buried here, and it's very unlikely that that's ever going to get accessed. Federal Bureau of Investigation, we trust those guys, and Metropolitan Police Department, that's in the D.C. area. So remember, I chose the D.C. area, so that's why. And let's see, go on over here. Okay, then it gets to what I guess the nature of your complaint is. Wait, let me back up 1 second. Here we go. Nature of concern. Illegal gun sales, gun violence, explosives, bombings. I just chose other, okay? So under other, I am reporting as required concern public, victim, or other. Not sure what I chose there, to be honest with you. Let's see if I can tell. Let me play the video. Okay, comments. Now, here at first, I put a comment on here. Ghost gun in D.C. We know that happened. Polymer, of course, got fined a whole bunch of money a couple weeks ago, and that was the reason why. So now they also give the option to upload a picture. I wanted to upload a picture of the perp. So what I did is I went into my picture folder, or my gallery, I should say, and I wanted to expand a little bit. I uploaded my picture there, and you can see the perp that I have in the picture, but I wanted to describe the picture a little bit better and what my complaint was officially about. All right, now this is what I typed in here. Ghost gun in D.C. On April 11, 2022, I witnessed an old senile man brandishing and flashing around a ghost gun. My understanding, based on D.C. suing P80, Polymer 80, for millions of dollars, is that it's illegal to have a ghost gun in D.C. The old dude lives on Pennsylvania Avenue in the 1600 block. Thank God for this app. I had no way to report this. I feel safer already. So then, I simply went in. Oh, and I put a little praying hands there too. The little praying hands. That kind of drove the point home there. So I went in here and it asked me for my date. Put the date in there. And then it says right here, include your contact info, optional. This is where you got to be careful not to choose yes. Choose no. Because even though we know they're tracking everything, at least they have to work a little bit harder to find out for sure where all this came from when you choose no. When you choose yes and divulge all your information to them voluntarily, you're making it way too easy. So at least make it a little bit more of a challenge. So anyway, so far, we will see how well this works. I don't have any way, since I didn't give them a way to contact me back. I have no way for them to tell me if they actually locate the senile old man that had the ghost gun in Washington, D.C. Fingers crossed, though. Fingers crossed. Let's see how effective this thing is if it just saves one life, guys. Just one life. If we can get that old man off the street with that ghost gun, I just feel like it's going to be a whole lot better for us.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.